Morning guys, how we doing? Hope you're good. Friday already. Lots of good Friday vibes going around, hopefully. So listen, today we're going to be talking about transition, okay, and how to handle transition and how it can sometimes affect our habits, our patterns, our routines, our structure. And just, it's more of a self-awareness type of live feed or podcast, if you like. It's really just to think about things. Transition was a big part of my life and downfall, and I didn't really handle it very well. So we're going to talk about maybe how you can handle it, how you can push through to come out the other side winning. If you are watching this, please do drop a like, please do drop a comment, say hi, let me know what you think. You can also watch this, you can listen to this on podcast. If you're watching this on video, there's a link somewhere on the feed. Plus also our Zero to Hero 6-week challenge starts next week. So if you haven't already, apply to come and join us. You know, we're looking, if you are ready to lose all of the excess body weight that you've got going on, get yourself just in structure, if you're just sick of your own bullshit excuses, this is going to give you the structure that you need to build on, and you'll be working with me personally. So, transition. So transition can come in forms, lots of different forms. So transition can come in the form of maybe a new job, going from one job, transitioning to a new job, or transitioning from one position to a new position. Like you might be just one of the office workers, then suddenly you've been promoted to a manager. Transition could be leaving one particular lifestyle to another lifestyle, like me, for example, as a Royal Marine Commando, then transitioning back to civilian world. There are also bigger sort of type of transitions. Maybe moving from one country to another. Maybe look at footballers, transition from being a professional footballer to not being a professional footballer and just being an ordinary guy again without walking out in front of a 40,000 capacity stadium. So there are lots of different types of transitions that can affect us. And transition usually affects us because all of a sudden we're being asked to carry out a brand new routine, brand new patterns. We may have to alter our structure, which means altering habits. Now, when I transitioned from the Royal Marines to civilian life, my whole world as I knew it, my whole way of life for nearly 9 years was completely broken, was completely rearranged, all in body, and that caused massive disruption to my life. A change of habits completely. A change of environment with different personalities and a different way of thinking. Completely changed my habits as well, my routines, my patterns, and my whole structure was broken. There was no structure. So the transition from where there was discipline, structure, camaraderie, focus, ambition, identity and drive, suddenly came to this transition of a new life where there was none of that. And that's the reason I ended up crumbling. That's the reason I ended up falling deep into my rut, because I wasn't prepared for that transition. Now, some might say that I could probably have done with more help with the transition from the military, but you have to kind of take a little bit of responsibility for yourself. And I guess I just forgot what it was like to be a civilian and living a normal life, not a military life. And that was really difficult to deal with. So that was a massive transition. Different transitions. So another transition of mine is kind of going from working on my boot camp locally, taking classes, to withdrawing and hiring staff and transitioning to working with people online. Different types of habits, different type of content, different type of people that I'm working with. And that is a massive transition. And for you guys, when you are changing and transitioning, some of your biggest transitions would be a transition of changing your workplace, where you're working, from going from one job to another job. And that can cause quite a lot of disruption to your flow. Okay, when you've got disruption to your flow, you're distracted. You're definitely going to be stressed. You're definitely going to be flustered and frustrated. These are some of the factors that are going to stop you from trying to be the best version of yourself, trying to reach this high level, right? And I think it's important to understand that. Like, if you're understanding, oh God, I'm just moving house, I'm just changing jobs, I'm going through a divorce. A transition is a divorce as well. Going from married life to single life, trying to be a full-time dad to now a part-time dad. These are all things that I've experienced, and they're very difficult to deal with because they just play on your emotions, they play on your mindset. They sometimes develop negativity in your brain. And it's all a distraction. It's all pulling you in the wrong direction because we're not staying in control of the situation. The biggest things for me to really deal with transition well is upholding an element of control of your habits, your routines, and your structure. And it's being aware of those three things: your habits, your routine, and your structure, and having control of them. Okay, so you move house. I get it, it's a big disruption. It's a big disruption when you move house. But don't just fucking stop. Like, just because you're moving from one house to another house, people take that as, oh, I'm not going to do anything or work on myself or develop myself for another 2 months. And then I'm going to use that excuse when I decide to do something. Oh, I've just been busy trying to move the house. All you got to do is put the fucking boxes in the house and then slowly, in your spare time, start rearranging your house. That doesn't mean you still shouldn't work out. That still doesn't mean that you shouldn't be journaling or getting up early and doing your golden hour or still developing yourself. Okay, same with when you move jobs. Just because you move from one environment to the other environment doesn't mean that you need to stop. Doesn't mean that you don't need to start working on yourself. You just need to be aware that that transition is going to cause disruption. So you must make sure that you are planning and on top of that. And that's really difficult to do. I get it. You know, I failed at that back in 2013 when I left. I failed to predict how difficult it would be for me in terms of changing from the Marines to civilian life and being a teacher. And that transition was like so difficult and hard on me. It beat me the fuck down into a 3-year rut, like deep down. And the reason I want you to really be aware of this is because I would hate for the same thing to happen to you. So listen, if you are going through, let's summarize, if you're going through any form of transition, if you are moving from one job to the other or house to the other, know that that transition is coming. Make sure you're ready for it. Okay, make sure that you promise yourself, that you hold yourself accountable, that you're not going to stop developing yourself, that you're not going to stop pushing yourself and showing up every single day. Just be aware that there are going to be some changes. So you're going to have to adapt and overcome those changes. You're going to have to roll with the punches. Yep, you might have to spend a week just going through that transition, but make it a week. Don't make it 2 months. Don't make it 1 month where you've forgotten yourself and neglected yourself. Just be really, like I said at the start, this is about self-awareness. Just be very mindful about your transitions. You know, any small transition is going to distract you and going to knock you off the path. Be ready for it. Be in control. Think about your habits, patterns, routines, and structure. And I think if you do that, you will more likely come out the other end still in control, still being the best version of yourself, still pushing and striving for success. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. It's just more of a chat, really. It's just like having a chat down the pub, isn't it? Just to get you fired up for Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Don't forget to try and apply for our 6-week Zero to Hero challenge. It'd be great to have you on board. It'd be great to coach you. It'd be great to work with you. Have a good one. See you soon.